Hello and welcome to the September 8th, 2024 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, I'm finally putting money into this project. We're on every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for catching the live stream or the replays. We are live on both Facebook and YouTube, and both places can be, you can go to both places to find all of the replays of all of our previous episodes. So yeah, we're simulcasting. Hooray! This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back into the world. Several of our articles are usually pulled from goodnewsnetwork.org, but we appreciate all the articles sent in by you, the viewers. So, a little bit flabbergasted. I'm a little tired. I was out in the woods all weekend, and I'm looking a little different right now, but I'm growing it back. It's at 5 o'clock shadow level, and it's coming back. So hopefully by the next episode, I'll have my usual look returned. Yeah. Hello, Julie, and producer Donna in the chat. So, News Brew. I've got a nice one for tonight. We are going to go with... Oh, here, I'll hold it from the top. We are going to go with Rum Barrel Aged 4 Elf from Dark Horse Brewing Company, which is here in Michigan. This is an 8.75% ABV Winter Warmer-Spiced Ale. It's got cinnamon and cloves and a whole menagerie of other things. The Winter Spice Bomb. We just had a bit of a cold snap here in Michigan, so I'm really looking forward to a winter warmer. And I actually picked this beer up when I was with my friends Jason and Melissa over in where Dark Horse Brewing is, which is, I'm having a brain fart all of a sudden. We headed over to Marshall, Michigan, where they actually have a fantastic magic museum. And yeah, so we had a blast over there. Julie kind of in the chat says she kind of likes the new look. I personally don't. I like my facial hair. I just ever since I started growing it out one Halloween, it's always been like a staple for me. So not having the facial hair is kind of weird. It hopefully will be back by the next broadcast. Charlie just hit the chat and also said the beard, it's gone. It should be returning shortly. I'm Italian. One of my powers is to grow facial hair. Baby phase. So for winter warmers or warm ales, winter ales, it's usually best to drink them out of a goblet. Absolutely love this glass. I bought a special pack of beer just to get my hands on a goblet because I didn't have one. I think I ranted about it in a Nick's News last year that I needed a goblet, and I finally got my goblet. So we're going to use the Balisong bottle opener to get this bottle open. I already took most of the wax off of one section. If you see, they did this one up with a wax seal. I melted most of it off of an area because it's an absolute pain with wax seal beers to get them open. So, kind of got to burrow in there. Come on. Don't tell... Oh, there we go. I heard it. Come on. Oh, it is being an absolute pain. There we go. We got her loose. Lions are 3-3. Tonight is the 2024 football season has started. The Lions are facing the Rams, I believe. Yep, the Rams, and are currently 3-3. So we're going to get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. I really should be playing some sort of music. Obviously not pouring like motor oil, like a lot of our more recent Nick's News brews have been. Warm ales are a little lighter bodied than our favorites, the stouts. Ooh, that one strikes really quick with all that spice. Wonderful nose on it. I am looking forward to this beer. So... we could do lounge music for the pour. Producer Donna saying it's got a pretty color. It does have a pretty color. All right. Let's get into our shout outs. So, as usual, if you want some fantastic cider or, of course, wine, you can head on down to Fox and Hen Winery in Grand Haven, Michigan. They're open on Fridays and Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this Friday, what day is this Friday? The 13th. Oh my gosh, it's going to be Friday the 13th. So on Friday the 13th, I'm going to be at Fox and Hen Winery from 5 to 7. So if you want to hang out, drink some cider, drink some wine with me, come on out. We'll hang out. We'll have some good cider and wine. So Fox and Hen Winery, absolutely fantastic. To them, cheers. Ed just joined us in the chat. Hello, Ed. Next shout out is a huge shout out to Haven LARP. That's where I was this weekend. I went to the Haven LARP their September event. It was absolutely fantastic. Massive shout out to the staff, the NPCs, the tavern staff, who kept us well fed and well hydrated the entire event. And of course, to the players who made it an absolutely memorable event. I had a blast. And I cannot thank you all enough for another memorable weekend in the woods. So thank you to everybody at Haven. Cheers. If my voice is a little bit rough, it's because I was also doing a lot of shouting. I tend to do those at LARPs, so. Also, many thanks to Graphics by Ashford, our graphic artist Grayson, and producer Donna for putting together the Nick verse a pumpkin beer short, or reel, depends on how you saw it, either here on Facebook or on YouTube. Well, here on Facebook or YouTube, I forget that we're dual casting. And a huge shout out to all of you for watching it. So right now on YouTube, it's up over like 500 views, and it's over 300 views on Facebook. I don't know if y'all just get a kick out of watching me suffering while I drink that pumpkin beer, but it really warms me to see all of you engaging with this kind of content, because it's just funny to me. Every time it like comes across my feed, I can't stop laughing. Get ready, because we're going to have a repeat. I'm going to have to get a pumpkin beer because 'tis the season. All the apple orchards are open. The pumpkins are in the patches getting picked out for jack-o'-lanterns, or just to have for pumpkin pie and who knows what. So I'm going to have to get a pumpkin beer here and do a pumpkin beer episode and die again drinking pumpkin beer. So y'all will be able to enjoy my suffering live. Hello, Kendra. Kendra just joined the chat on Facebook and said apple beer. Kendra, that's cider. Kendra, my dear, that is cider. All right, news quote. Producer Donna helped me find this one. I was kind of just not finding any good ones. So big thanks to producer Donna for helping me find this one. The older you get, the more you realize that kindness is synonymous with happiness. That comes from Lionel Barrymore. Lionel Barrymore was an American actor of stage, screen, and radio. And he was also a film director, but he was best known for playing the villainous Mr. Potter from 1946's It's a Wonderful Life. So again, that quote, the older you get, the more you realize that kindness is synonymous with happiness. Thank you to Lionel Barrymore for that quote, and producer Donna for finding it. Cheers. It's a winter warmer, all right. It's like drinking a spice bomb with alcohol. Bug update. Ed just in the Facebook chat just said another good quote. What better reason for life than the nourishment of others, from Caduceus Clay? That's really nice. Ed, you should have sent that in as a quote for a future episode. We'll say it now. We'll include it in this one. What better reason for life than the nourishment of others? Cheers. Oops. whack the table there. Bug update. Happy to report all the bugs and plants are doing very well, despite my absence. Elmira Hug and Kiss is a bit of a mischief maker. While I was gone, she continued to burrow underneath her water dish and collapsed it once again. I'm happy she didn't drown herself because I found the water dish tilted and completely poured out into the area that she had created beneath it. So the roaches and the darkling beetles are harmoniously fat and happy, so they're all doing well. So all my bugs are accounted for. Check out on Tuesday on Facebook, we'll have our next update of my flora and fauna, and I'm going to feature one of my plants this time, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's get into our good news. So our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and we end on wholesome notes, the really nice articles that make you feel something. So we're going to start off with category 1, science and technology. First article we've got, I called Ba Ram You. This was sent in by Charlie, so Charlie, thank you so much for sending in this article. And I will copy and paste it into the chat if you would like to read along. "6,000 sheep will soon be grazing on 10,000 acres of Texas solar fields." This article was on the Canary Media. It was posted on the 16th of August of 2024 by Carrie Klein. J.R. Howard of Texas Solar Sheep can't buy sheep fast enough. He supplies them to solar farms, where their grazing keeps grass short for less than the cost of mowing it. Demand for his animals has skyrocketed over the past few years as more and more large solar installations are being built. Now, Howard is scrambling to fulfill his biggest order yet for 6,000 sheep, which will be put to work grazing 8 Texas solar fields run by Enel North America. Howard's booming business is a form of agrivoltaics, which is a word I never thought I would hear put together, which combines solar panels with agriculture or other land uses that benefit farmers and ecosystems. Along with renting sheep out to solar fields, Howard raises them to sell for meat, but only the males. He needs as many females as he can get to shore up his herds. When he first started his business 3 years ago, he had just 400 sheep on one solar site. Since then, he's deployed over 10,000. The increasing demand for sheep grazing on solar farms is the greatest opportunity for the sheep industry in my lifetime, Howard told Canary Media. The solar grazing project with Enel isn't the first of its kind, but it will be the largest in the country. Altogether, Enel's 8 solar installations occupy a stretch of land nearly the size of Manhattan and currently producing 2.6 gigawatts of power. A few of the fields are still in the final stages of construction, so that number is going to go up. Using sheep as a vegetation maintenance crew is a win-win. Ultimately, we're a business, said Jesse Puckett, Director of Sustainability Projects and Community Affairs at Enel. This is one way that we can enhance the bottom line and build sustainability into our project. The animals are more efficient than lawnmowers, since they can get into the nooks and crannies under panel arrays, Puckett said, though some additional mowing is sometimes necessary, which Howard's company provides along with the sheep. Mowing is also more likely to kick up rocks or other debris, damaging panels that then must be repaired, adding to costs. Agrivoltaics projects involving sheep have been shown to improve the quality of the soil, since their manure is a natural fertilizer. At a solar installation in Minnesota, where Enel first started grazing sheep in 2017, the company saw a 200% improvement in organic matter. Using sheep instead of mowers also cuts down on fossil fuel use, while allowing native plants to mature and bloom. Solar projects that prioritize native plant growth have been found to increase the biodiversity of plants and insects like native bees, and to reduce soil erosion. The sheep benefit too. Shade from solar panels helps them stay cool, and Howard has found they don't need as much water as when they're grazing on open fields. Meeting the United States' ambitious clean energy goals will require rapid installation of solar over the coming decades. The clean energy source is set to lead the growth of U.S. power generation for the next 2 years, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. While much of that solar will be built on rooftops and on contaminated land that can't be used for anything else, like former nuclear sites, some of it will inevitably take up viable farmland. It's not possible to meet solar demand without using some farmland, said Jordan Macknick, lead energy, water, and land analyst for the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. But the overall amount will probably be relatively small, he argues. If every new solar project were built on agricultural land, 10 million acres at most would be needed to achieve a completely decarbonized electric grid by 2050. That would still be less than 1% of all of the country's farmland. So, even if all of the solar projects to get us to carbon neutrality were on farmland, even if all the solar farms were on farmland, it'd be 1% of the overall farmland of the United States. Holy crap. Nevertheless, agrivoltaics projects could help reduce that percentage, not necessarily replacing farmland so much as transforming the way it's used. I think we recognize the fact that as an industry, we have this amazing opportunity to do things a little bit different, Puckett said. In addition to grazing sheep, several of Enel's sites will incorporate beekeeping, native plant habitat, and hay production. Across the U.S., 500 agrivoltaics projects already cover around 62,000 acres of land. For farmers like Howard, the scaling up of solar and sheep go hand in hand. Over the next few weeks, Howard will be securing animals from nearby ranches and farms, around 3,000 or 4,000 more. He hopes that someday soon he'll be able to sell off some of his herd to help other farmers start their own sheep for solar businesses. That's really the goal, Howard said. But for now, he said, we need those sheep. To Howard of Texas Solar Sheep and to Charlie for sending in that article. Cheers. Chris has joined the chat in our Facebook live stream and asked, what happened to your facial hair? Are you in witness protection? Several members of the chat jumped in and let him know that I was LARPing, so that is where my baby face came back from. And Julie followed it up with LARPing, witness protection, same difference. Chris fired back, transform golf courses, keep the farmland. Golf is stupid and doesn't need space. Well, over where I live, they converted an old golf course to a nature preserve, and I hike it like every other day. It's fantastic. So, all right, this next one I called "Go Green, Go Blue, Go Renew." Tim has joined the chat as well. Hello, Tim. I will copy and paste this article into the chat if y'all want to read along with me. Michigan's robust renewable energy powered 1 million homes in 2023 from wind and solar. This article comes from goodnewsnetwork.org. It was posted on September 3rd of 2024, and it was written by Andy Corbley. Michigan, a state once famous for carbon-heavy automotive manufacturing, is now among the leaders of renewable energy installation in America. A recent report shows that the state added 350 megawatts of solar power in 2023, increasing the total renewable resources in the state by 10%. Combined with an existing inventory of 3,500 megawatts of solar and wind, the state's green energy covered the power demands of 944,000 Michigan homes in 2023. Michigan is by no means a leader in renewable energy generation in the country, but it is looking to become one. By various metrics, Michigan ranks between 25th and 15th for renewable capacity. Michigan relies heavily on wind power from its arsenal of turbines along the coast of Lake Huron, where strong onshore winds create consistent electricity. Midwest Today reports that another 630 megawatts of solar energy are slated for installation by 2025. The growth in renewable energy is part of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's Clean Energy and Jobs Act, which was signed in November of 2023, which aimed to expand green energy and make utility bills more affordable for consumers. While this hasn't happened, electricity and gas bills have remained constant. There are more renewable installations on the horizon that could achieve that goal. So to my current home state of Michigan for definitely expanding its renewable grid and serving almost 1 million homes in 2023. Cheers. I gotta stop banging that glass. All right, so that's going to kick us out of science and technology, and we are going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. This first article was sent in by Cassidy. Cassidy, thank you so much. And it is a recurring theme in our articles. It relates to COVID, so it is COVID. Fuck COVID. I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Newly discovered antibody protects against all COVID-19 variants. This article was posted in SciTech Daily. It was posted on September 6th of 2024 by the University of Texas at Austin. I actually lived in Texas for a little bit in Houston, so this should be pretty cool. A study led by the University of Texas at Austin has identified SC27, an antibody capable of neutralizing all known variants of the COVID-19 virus, opening prospects for universal vaccine development and improved treatments amid ongoing viral evolution. Researchers have identified an antibody. That is just a repeat of what I just read. Dang it. Got me again, SciTech Daily. As part of a new study on hybrid immunity to the virus, the large multi-institution research team led by the University of Texas at Austin discovered and isolated a broadly neutralizing plasma antibody called SC27 from a single patient. Using technology developed over several years of research into antibody response, the team led by UT engineers and scientists obtained the exact molecular sequence of the antibody, opening the possibility of manufacturing it on a larger scale for future treatments. The discovery of SC27 and other antibodies like it in the future will help us better protect the population against current and future COVID variants, said Jason Lavender, a research assistant professor in the Cockrell School of Engineering's Makeda Department of Chemical Engineering. So much engineering. And one of the leaders of the new research, which was recently published in Cell Reports Medicine. During the more than 4 years since the discovery of the COVID-19, the virus that causes it has rapidly evolved. Each new variant has displayed different characteristics, many of which have made them more resistant to vaccines and other treatments. Protective antibodies bind to a part of the virus called the spike protein that acts as an anchor point for the virus to attach to and infect the cells in the body. By blocking the spike protein, the antibodies prevent this interaction and, therefore, also prevent infection. SC27 has recognized the different characteristics of the spike proteins in the many COVID variants. Fellow UT researchers, who were the first to decode the structure of the original spike protein and paved the way for the vaccines and other treatments that we have today, verified SC27's capabilities. The technology used to isolate the antibody, termed IgSec, gives researchers a closer look at the antibody response to infection and vaccination using a combination of single-cell DNA sequencing and proteomics. A lot of fun words in this article. One goal of this research, and vaccinology in general, is to work towards a universal vaccine that can generate antibodies and create an immune response with broad protection to a rapidly mutating virus, said Will Voss, a recent PhD graduate in cell and molecular biology in UT's College of Natural Sciences, who co-led the study. In addition to the discovery of this antibody, the research found that hybrid immunity, a combination of both infection and vaccination, offers increased antibody-based protection against future exposure compared with infection or vaccination alone. The work comes amid another summer COVID spike. This trend shows that while the worst of the pandemic may have passed, there's still a need for innovative solutions to help people avoid and treat the virus. And the researchers have filed a patent application for SC27, so they are definitely jonesing to start using it. So that's pretty cool. To everybody at the University of Texas at Austin for discovering this strange little antibody that so far seems to be able to beat every COVID-19 variant. And definitely to Cassidy for sending in that article. Cheers. And we'll get into our next article. I hope everybody's enjoying our stream so far. I'm kind of flying through these a little bit. Our next one I called Cancer Goes to Voicemail. And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Everything appears to be going okay. Ed followed it up with fuck cancer. Mobile phones not linked to brain cancer. Biggest study to date finds. If you grew up in the late 90s and the 2000s, this has been an ongoing battle. Whether or not cell phones cause brain cancer. Well, according to this article, it doesn't. This article comes from The Guardian. It was posted on Tuesday, the 3rd of September in 2024 by Natasha May. Mobile phones are not linked to brain and head cancers. A comprehensive review of the highest quality evidence available commissioned by the World Health Organization has found. Led by the Australian Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Agency, or ARPANSA, the systematic review examined more than 5,000 studies from which the most scientifically rigorous were identified and weak studies were excluded. The final analysis included 63 observational studies in humans published between 1994 and 2022, making it the most comprehensive review to date, the review lead author, Associate Professor Ken Karapidis, said. We concluded the evidence does not show a link between mobile phones and brain cancer or other head and neck cancers. Published on Wednesday, the review focused on cancers of the central nervous system, including brain, meninges, pituitary gland, and ear, salivary gland tumors, and brain tumors. The review found no overall association between mobile phone use and cancer, no association with prolonged use if people use their mobile phones for 10 years or more, and no association with the amount of mobile phone use, the number of calls made, or the time spent on the phone. I'm quite confident with our conclusion, and that makes us quite confident. And what makes us quite confident is, even though mobile phone use has skyrocketed, brain tumor rates have remained stable, said Karapitis, Arpanza's Health Impact Assessment Assistant Director. Mobile phones, like anything that uses wireless technology, including laptops, radio, and TV transmissions, and mobile phone towers, emit radio frequency electromagnetic radiation, also known as radio waves. Karapitis, who is also the vice chair of the International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection, said people hear the word radiation and assume it is similar to nuclear radiation. And because we use a mobile phone close to the head when we're making calls, there is a lot of concern, Karapitis said. Radiation is basically energy that travels from one point to another. There are many different types. For example, ultraviolet radiation from the sun, he said. We're always exposed to low-level radio waves in everyday environment. While exposure from mobile phones is still low, it is much higher than exposure from any other wireless technology sources since phones are used close to the head, Karapitis said. The association between mobile phones and cancer came about from early studies where researchers investigated differences between a group of people with brain tumors and a separate group without the cancers by asking both about their exposure history. The results from this kind of study design tend to be biased because while the group without the tumor provide good information, the group with the tumors tend to over-report their exposure, Karapitis said. Based on some of these early studies showing there might be a possible association with brain cancer from mobile phone use against the head for many hours, the WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer, or the IARC, designated radio frequency fields like those from mobile phones as a possible cancer risk. Karapitis said although many members of the public became concerned due to the IARC classification, the classification doesn't mean all that much. The IARC has different classifications of cancer risk, with substances able to be classified as a definite carcinogen, such as smoking, or a probable or possible carcinogen. By designating radio frequency electromagnetic fields as a possible carcinogen in 2011, the WHO put them on par with hundreds of other agents, for which evidence of harm is uncertain, such as aloe vera, pickled vegetables, and working in a dry cleaner. However, at the time, some high-profile doctors, such as the Australian neurosurgeon Charlie Teo, publicly raised the profile of the IARC's decision around mobile phones and cancer. Since the classification, Karapitis said many more cohort studies had been published which do not rely on people to recall their past exposure, and in 2019, the WHO commissioned a number of systematic reviews to look at the health effects from radio waves. Karapitis said another WHO-commissioned systematic review, which looked at male fertility in radio waves, found that there was no evidence of an association between phones and a drop in sperm count. Another WHO-commissioned systematic review, which looked at female fertility, did find an association in some scenarios, such as affecting birth weight. However, that association occurred when exposure to radio waves was far above the safety limit, Karapitis said. Tim Driscoll, a professor at the University of Sydney and a chair of the Australian Cancer Council's Occupational and Environmental Cancers Committee, said the systematic review's methodology was strong and the researchers should be considered independent. I think people should feel reassured by this study, but it's worthwhile just remembering that these studies aren't perfect, but the weight of evidence certainly is that mobile phones should be considered safe to use in terms of any concern about increased risk of cancer, Driscoll said. Karapitis and his colleagues are now working on the second part of the study, which will examine cancers less commonly associated with mobile phones, including leukemia and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Karapitis said the concerns around links between cancer and mobile phones should be put to rest, but emphasized as technology would continue to develop, it was important to continue research. So there you have it, a comprehensive review of 5,000 articles, of which 63 were of incredible importance, and hopefully putting the last nail in the coffin that cell phones don't cause brain cancer. So, to everybody involved in this study, especially everybody at Arpanza, cheers. Okay, so that's going to bounce us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to category fleet. Jeez, is this beer getting to me? I think this beer is getting to me. We are going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. I hope you enjoy this article. I certainly did when I proofread it. I called it, Go to Iceland, Yeet a Puffin. But I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Category Ed on the Facebook chat calling me out saying we had a category fleet happening on this stream. Iceland locals are saving baby puffins by tossing them out to sea. This article was posted on goodgood.co on September 6th of 2024. When photographer and content creator Kayana Sue Powers visited the volcanic islands of Vestmannaeyjar, Iceland for the first time, she was surprised to see families out patrolling the streets, boxes and flashlights in tow. When she asked them what they were up to, they said they were searching for baby puffins, also known as pufflings. If found, they would be rounded up and gently tossed off the cliffside in the morning. Mom, I found a puffin. Let's go down to the shore. Oh, it's a cliff. Yeet. It's just what you do. It's as normal to do as recycling cans, Powers told NPR. At 6 weeks... Oh my gosh, this article is just so bonkers. At 6 weeks old, when their fluffy down matures and their beaks are still black, a puffling is ready to fly the nest. Once they head out to sea, they will spend 3 to 4 years of their life flying abroad, before returning to the cliff sides to start a family of their own. However, each year, in late August or September, pufflings come crashing down on streets and residential homes, as their internal compass ushers them to the moon, and the moon turns out to be the electronic lights of the city. In the same way that baby sea turtles can be disoriented and misdirected by city lights in coastal towns, pufflings will often fall for the allure of artificial lights. In the chat, Ed says, toss, toss, puffling. Charlie throws in, just imagine the pufflings. I believe I can fly. And I'm not going to read anymore. I'm going to, get DCMA'd into the dirt. Or DMCA'd or whatever. Julie says, puffling tossing. I wonder if there are puffling tossing contests. Thankfully, the residents of Vestmannaeyjar know to keep an eye out for the wandering pufflings, and they take the volunteer position very seriously. According to Powers, it's typical to find anywhere between 4 to 10 pufflings in a single night during puffling season. Before they release pufflings, locals are encouraged to record the weight of each puffling on an official Puffin Patrol website. Picking the pufflings up does not harm them, and they are only kept in a box until the next day, Powers explained in a blog post for Inspired by Iceland. The pufflings are brought to the south side of the island. The location can be found on Google Maps as Beautiful Puffin and Shore View, and there is a link if you want to check it out. The cliffs and air are dotted with hundreds of adult puffins, and families can be found releasing their puffins one by one into the wild. Typically, instinct takes over, and the pufflings are able to fly toward the ocean without issue. Occasionally, a lazy puffling will flop to the ground and hobble off the cliff, Powers added, but they instinctively begin to soar as they fall through the air. So majestic. For puffing patrollers, caring for the wayward baby birds is akin to helping little lost friends. In fact, the scientific name for the Atlantic puffin subspecies, Fratercula Fratercula arctica, literally translates to little brother of the north. And the volunteer work is critical to keeping puffin populations up. Globally, the Atlantic puffin is considered vulnerable, but in Europe, it's on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of threatened species. And in Iceland specifically, they are critically endangered. This is due in part to declining fish populations, rising sea temperatures, and oil spills. Oliver Kirsten, a researcher of genomics and marine ecology at the University of Oslo, spoke to Inside Climate News about the species' decline across northern Europe and the North Atlantic. 20 years ago, when you were on Rost, Norway, and you looked at the sky, everything was covered in puffins. Kirsten said, "It must have been this really, really extremely fascinating sight." Last October, the Norwegian island of Rost was home to only 208,500 puffins total, which means it lost 80% of its breeding pairs in half a century. "You can clearly see a difference," Kirsten said. "Thankfully, puffin lovers across Greenland, Norway, Russia are doing their part by helping pufflings find their way out to sea. But nowhere is that more apparent than Vestmannaeyjar, which boasts the largest puffin colony in the world. If somebody says, 'Tell us one thing that's on your island,' probably 99.9% will say, 'Puffins,'" Sandra Siff, a Vestmannaeyjar resident, told Smithsonian Magazine last year. "Everything here revolves around the puffins." Puff Patrol, says Julie in the chat. That is fantastic. To all of the puff patrollers across Vestmannaeyjar, Iceland, helping yeet puffins back into the ocean. Cheers. All right, that gets us out of flora and fauna. We are going to move on to our final category, category 4, the wholesome notes. Got one article to close it all up. I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Firefighters raise nearly $1 million for shelter dogs by modeling in charity calendars. This article comes from goodgoodgood.co and was posted on September 5th of 2024. The respected first responders of Colorado's fire departments are skilled at saving lives and combating wildfires, but once a year they approach things a bit differently, by turning up the heat. The annual Fire Rescue Dogs calendar, and there is multiple links included in the description for the videos and the live streams and in the article, created by a number of Denver Metro firefighters, features 18 male firefighters who have stepped out of their protective gear to model alongside some very special guests, adoptable puppies. My chat just exploded. Down, ladies, down. Oh, I didn't say the article. I'm so sorry, Donna. We called this article, producer Donna helped me with this article. We called it "Not All Heroes Wear Capes or Shirts." Oh, man. That's a good pun. Calendars sell like hotcakes at $20 a pop, all benefiting Lifeline Puppy Rescue, a no-kill shelter based in the Rocky Mountain region. It's our biggest fundraiser for Lifeline Puppy Rescue, Amy Vanderbroek, the calendar's project manager, told 9 News Denver. It's raised over $950,000 over the past 10 years. Our goal this year is to raise another $200,000. Calendar sales help the rescue pay for essential procedures like spaying and neutering, microchipping, medical care, and most recently, the construction of a larger facility. While the models are local to Colorado, the annual calendar has seen worldwide success and has enabled the project to grow in the last decade. In August, the firefighters and a handful of community sponsors also hosted a launch and signing party, where the shirtless firefighters continued to raise funds, adoptable dogs standing by. Just like our brave firefighters, Lifeline Puppy Rescue saves lives every day. They just happen to be four-legged furballs who are in need of their forever family. A webpage for Fire Dogs Rescue Calendar reads, "With each calendar sold, one precious puppy gets rescued. Let's make a lasting impact together." Chat now saying I owe all the ladies chocolate and a calendar. Great. The models apply every year and are often featured on the project's social media accounts as Mr. September and the like. Their Instagram account boasts over 108,000 followers, meaning the guys and their furry friends get plenty of eyes year-round. Thornton Fire Lieutenant Thomas Copwin, has always been a dog lover and often volunteers to help the shelter, though the calendar became a way for him to focus on his fitness goals. "Dogs are my favorite animal, and helping these little guys, it means the world to me," he told 9 News. "It's been very rewarding, both through the fitness gains that we've made, and then also helping all of these adorable puppies. It doesn't hurt that the annual photo shoot includes the opportunity to snuggle up with a plethora of puppies." "We were greeted by about 20 puppies first thing this morning," firefighter Nick Dabrowski told 9 News. "I got into the fire service because I wanted to help people. Help anyone, really. Dogs included." As it turns out, flaunting that community service, among other attributes, really does make a difference. This article's just very hot. The calendar features intentionally sexy photos as the firefighters go topless to complement their other uniform accessories, like hats, hoses, trucks, and even underwear that reads #SavePuppies on the elastic waistband. Darling puppies also grace the pages, perhaps stealing the show, as bursts of water, smoke, and contained fires dance in the background. Beyond the calendar, the firefighters also use the images to share social media reminders for pet safety tips, especially during the hottest months of the summer. This article is just, these firefighters are just incredible. They are really like going out of their way. "We love helping the puppies. We love being involved in the community," Copwin said. "This is just another way for us to give back to the community that gives so much to us." It's a genius tactic, one that will likely reach a total of $1 million raised this year, and one that Lifeline Puppy Rescue will forever be grateful for. This project is made possible thanks to the support from all of our wonderful let me start this quote over again. "This project is made possible thanks to the support of all of our wonderful volunteers, sponsors, and the hardworking firefighters in and around the Denver metro area who have graciously volunteered their time," the rescue shared on its website. And, of course, the puppies. So, I thought for a moment that something might have fallen into my beer, but it doesn't look like it. To everybody at the Fire Rescue Dogs calendar, and to the Denver Metro firefighters for all the work they do, helping out with no-kill shelters and getting puppies adopted and pets taken care of. Cheers. No, I think this beer is hitting me really well. But that article was really good. Well, And yes, producer Donna did just say in the chat for Facebook that all the links are included if folks would like to follow the puppies and donate. There we go. And if you want to donate for the calendars. So those will be in the description. I think that's about it. As always, I thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page or the YouTube page. Again, we're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be on September 15th, 2024, at our regularly scheduled time of 9 p.m. Eastern. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can message us and post suggestions for news brews, for shout-outs, for news quotes, and of course, for good news articles you find that we can present on future episodes. If possible, I do appreciate a menagerie of articles across our categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and the wholesome notes, the really nice articles we like to end on. You can either message us here on Facebook or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our Facebook and our YouTube videos to get the good news and joy into the algorithm. We're still trying to figure it all out. I'm not going to demand anything. I will say I do appreciate all of the views, all the likes, all the subscribes, all the comments. I go through them whenever I see alerts. I'm checking my content constantly, and I absolutely love all of you tuning in. It's been fantastic. This has been amazing. So I can't thank you all, our viewers, enough. So again, as always, thank you again. I love you all. And have a great night. I'm going to play us out.